All right, welcome back here, CarolinaPreps.com. I'm with Gates County head football coach Matt Biggy. Coach, I saw you in February at the football clinic. It's always good to catch up with you there, and I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today to chat about your football program.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Absolutely, sir. You had a great season last year, all the way to the third round of the playoffs. You guys have always just been really, really solid, and I want to throw it up here on the screen just so guys can kind of look over your program. This is our team page here at CarolinaPreps.com, which is really the most comprehensive, database for seeing your scores and everything like that. And you see right there, you had that tough 20-60 game there with Pender in the third round. But overall, I just feel like your trajectory, your program, you just always one of the most solid programs. And one of the reasons I just kind of, I always love talking to guys from your end of the state because I feel like that part of North Carolina, almost in Virginia, almost near the ocean, is kind of underserved, and just want to give an opportunity to kind of promote what's going on in that community.
Well, yeah, that's 100%. I always tell coaches when they come out here recruiting that this is not a very well-recruited region. And I understand why. I mean, everything's so spread out. I mean, if I'm a college coach and I'm recruiting, I can go to Wake County and I can hit, 6 schools in the course of a day. Here, you may be able to get 3 because you have to drive, 30, 45 minutes in between each school because a lot of times we're a one school per county area. But it doesn't mean we don't have good football players out here, though.
Well, I definitely think you have good football players. Your record certainly indicates that. Something also new that we could talk about is the realignment. How do you feel about your new realignment? You guys are going to be at the Albemarle Athletic Conference. Some good football in that conference. Obviously, we got Bertie and Camden and Holmes and Manio, Perquimans. That's some good football up that way. How do you feel about how the state association did with your realignment and how you guys fit in?
Well, I mean, from a entire state's perspective, I think it's a great thing for all sports. There was such an issue in the 1A and the 4A before, where there was such a division. There was so much separation between the smallest schools in those classifications, the biggest schools in those classifications, and this has kind of narrowed that down. So it's made it more realistic for everybody, to have a more realistic chance to play and compete for state titles. So I think that was a great move on their part to do that for all sports all the way across the board. For us, specifically in Gates County, I think, our conference is great. I mean, from a travel standpoint, as we don't have anything that's too far. I mean, Manio is about a 2-hour trip. That's not terrible. And then they're all schools that we've been playing in previous conferences or sometimes in non-conferences. And so they're always good matchups, good competitive games, and then all sports all the way across the board. So I think it's a good fit for us.
All right. Hey, speaking about some of those competitive games, and you touched on the recruiting piece as soon as we came on. Who are some of the guys that maybe we could expect to have some breakout years coming up? Some of the young guys maybe that came off your younger programs that you think could emerge and be some household names moving into this 25 season and maybe beyond?
Well, I mean, so last year we started a junior quarterback. It was his first year playing quarterback. And he came on and had a really strong year for us and really grew. It was his first year playing the position and really grew and developed into the position. He runs the ball well. He's starting to throw it, not bad, and make some good reads for us. He finished with just a little under 900 yards rushing last season, and we're hoping for him to build on that. And then we've got, defensively, we got a number of guys returning, particularly in our front. We got a young man who was a freshman this year that played for us named Rowan Massey. He played a little bit defensive tackle. He also played some H-back for us, but he's a guy that we can probably split out and play receiver, a little bit of tight end. He played most of the season last year with a broken hand, so he couldn't catch the ball very well with a broken hand, a cast on his hand. But he's got good soft hands, so I think he's got a chance to be a good player for us on both sides of the ball this year too.
You mentioned some of these young guys, and I kind of had my mind spinning a little bit while you was talking, thinking about you guys doing the spring practices and stuff coming up. I know we have the opportunity to get in pads later this month or into May. Also, with you being a 1A program, some of these 1A, 2A programs, they don't always have the luxury of having 5, 6, 700 boys, or even more than that in a school. How is it with your school? Do you have a lot of the young men that are playing track or baseball or some of the other sports right now? And do you lead on those programs to finish, or do you kind of have some guys that just specialize in football?
We don't have a lot of people who specialize, and I encourage them to play everything that they, you have a very limited amount of time to play high school sports. Take advantage of it and have fun. And also, I mean, from my perspective, might be a little bit different. I don't want to just drill football all year round because it can kind of get to be a grind and then burn them out a little bit. If they go from one to another and to another, and then that way when we come back around and get ready to go back into football, it's fresh for them and they're more excited about it. So we do have some guys playing baseball. I'm an assistant track coach, so we got a lot of guys running track. We had a number of guys that played basketball. So I mean, what I find is that when our sports teams are at their best is when we are sharing a large number of athletes. So I think that's a good thing for all of our sports and our kids.
No, I agree. Now, I kind of want to touch a little bit on your career just a few minutes before we get off of here. You hit a milestone this past year. I'm not even sure. A lot of coaches, sometimes they don't even know what their records are, but you hit 100 wins this year, and I think that's a pretty fantastic landmark. All at the same school. You've been the head coach at Gates County, I think it's since 2007.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, I know that. And I have, been to the school. I've seen your fields, and I also know that you guys have a brand new weight room and some incredible facilities. You guys have done an amazing job, kind of propping up that program and doing some cool things to make it really good for the kids and the community and the people that come and watch games and stuff. But looking back, you've had a pretty good run at Gates, and I know it's nowhere near end and close to the end, but you've had a good run. And just what is it like being up there in that part of the state? Like, is the community feel and just knowing that you've touched a lot of young men in that area?
Well, that I've said many times, this is a great place to work. It's a great place to live. I have, very few complaints about anything here. I mean, everybody, it doesn't matter where you are. People want, something better and see things improve. And I've been here for 18 years now, and we've done a lot of improvements. And I have no complaints about the track and the way we're going. Like you touched on, we just built 2 years ago, opened up a almost 7,000 square foot weight room with a indoor turf area, and that has been great. Our field, our athletic director does an incredible job with field maintenance and getting that thing clean and then really looking like as good as it can be. So I mean, it like I said, when I got here to where we are now, we've made significant improvements in a lot of different areas. We have the field house that sits on, or the gym that sits on one end zone, kind of closes in the stadium. I mean, it is not a big stadium by any means. I mean, we are a 1A school with a 1A stadium, but it is a good place to watch a football game on a Friday night.
Oh, it's absolutely a good place to watch football. I've been to just about every stadium in the state to take photos, and you've got that tall red press box, and,
Right.
and it's just real neat. And, I've often said, the big, massive stadiums that can sit 10 or 15,000 people, you can get lost in them things. And, you got a more intimate environment for watching football. And I just think the football is better. You think about baseball, NFL or Major League Baseball, like Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, some of those small, intimate settings are often the best.
That's right. It is. I mean, when we get a big crowd, it kind of closes in. You got some people kind of standing around the back of the end zone by the concessions area down there, and it really does. It's a good setting for a football game on Friday night.
Well, and I think you guys have the coolest, or one of the coolest mascots in the state. I mean, it's always neat when you've got a mascot that nobody else has. You think of like the Whirlies or the Spiders or the Wonders, and I'll throw you guys in there because hey, there's 100 eagles and bears and tigers, but it's kind of cool when you're the only one.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there is not. I know in this state, and I can't. I don't know of a whole lot of them in the rest of the country that are red barons. So
I can't think of me either.
It is pretty unique. It is a pretty unique mascot.
I hear you. I'm gonna have to let you go here in a second. Somebody else is trying to get with you, Coach. But just you talk about big crowds and filling the end zone of the stadium and some good intimate environments. You got you kind of touching on it. You had that big 8-win season last year. How do you feel about your team coming forward? Do you think we could expect similar big things moving into the 25 season?
We always hope so. I mean, we placed a couple people on offense, a couple people on defense. Hold on one second. Let me call you back in just a minute.
Man, this is live and as in color as it gets, Coach.
We got to replace people on a couple spots on both sides of the ball, but we feel good about some of the ones we got coming back. We got some of our skilled guys coming back. We played some young guys at receiver. We had our entire quarterback room is coming back. We returned 3 of our 5 starting offensive linemen. Defensively, our entire defensive line comes back. With us playing that 3-5 or 3-3, a number of our linebackers come back. We do have some places in the secondary we got to kind of fill in and 2 linebacker spots, but as is every year and in high school. I mean, you got graduation but next guy step up and fill in. Well, I've been pleased with what we've done in the weight room. We've had a good off season to this point. We got to continue that through the spring and into the summer. Keep getting ready but I mean, I think we got an opportunity to be a pretty strong football team if things keep going well for us throughout this offseason.
All right. Well, Coach Matt Biggy, I appreciate your time. Obviously, I see you're at school and you've got people wanting you, so thanks for being generous with your time. We wish you the best of luck and hope to follow your team throughout the year, and I hope that we'll catch you soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Chris.